This is the DallasCowboys.com Draft Show. Your war room for insider news and draft analysis from deep within the confines of Cowboys headquarters at the Star in Frisco.
And now, your host, Kyle Yeomans.
Today is January 16th, 2025, and we are 98 days away from the 2025 NFL Draft in Green Bay, Wisconsin, as we welcome you to the Draft Show presented by Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys. Today we've got Nick Harris, Brian Broaddus, Voch Lombardi with Chris Beam in the back. I'm Kyle Yeomans, as we are excited to bring you all sorts of draft insight here over the next 45 minutes. I want to get right into it because we do have some Twitter on the 20 today. We've got some great questions flying in. I tweeted it out late last night. Give us your questions. Give us your insights. I will compile those as we go along, and we will ask some of those questions, try and get to as many as possible. But I wanted to start with holes to fill. Of course, there's a lot of intrigue around the coaching decision, a lot of intrigue around what they're going to do from that side of things. We'll stick away from that for a little bit. We've talked about it the last two shows. Until they hire someone, I want to talk about what we know around this Cowboys roster. I think that's a pretty safe bet. Sure. And that whole that mentality means there are holes to fill up front in terms of this Cowboys team. So I will start with you, Voch. Offense, defense. Where do you start if you're the Cowboys and you're looking at filling some of those different voids along the way?
You know, we could just say BPA, but I want to say like the best big dude that can make you tough real fast, right? You know, what you have to do is, or just I do this, I don't want to speak for everybody, is I'm looking at the rivals. I'm looking at the dudes that we have to line up and play against. And boy, don't we play against a lot of tough people. Yeah. We play against a lot of strong offensive linemen, man, a lot of athletic offensive linemen, a lot of dudes that want to run the ball right at us.
Interior defensive line.
We got to fix that. We got to fix that. And, you know, everybody wants to hear us go wide receiver. They want to hear us go running back. And you need that too. You need all those things too. But if I can get tougher first, that's a thing we'll just do one day. Would you rather be tougher or would you rather go wide receiver first? I think we have to get tougher first. And then I think you can live with whoever you sign as the wide receiver that's ready to play right now. If I'm really tough at one take, if I'm really tough at guard or whatever we think that we're missing, left tackle, whatever you want to say. But yeah, get bigger, get bigger, get tougher.
Do you think this team is built to win the division and not win the conference?
Well, they're not built to win the division anymore, just because the Eagles.
Well, I mean,
are super built. But I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I remember that same sentiment you had on the break, and I think it's very spot on because you look at the success that they had in 23 when they were healthy. Yeah, built to win the division. Eagles fell apart, but yes, built to win the division. But then you go and you play up against a really tough team in Green Bay, or if you were to somehow get across that game, you play a tough team in Detroit, you were going to get smacked in the mouth.
Yeah, I kind of feel like that it's built. I think Will has a really good understanding of how to win this division.
Sure.
I wonder if he's now kind of looking at his board thinking, like, how can I win this conference? Now, he's got to have – it's going to be interesting now with what the Commanders have done at quarterback. You know, you'll see what happens with the Giants. I was on with Jeff Kavanaugh this morning, he and I doing our Trust Tape podcast, and I sat there and he talked about a mock draft he did where he kept trading back because that's what Jeff Kavanaugh does.
Mm-hmm. Captain Trade Back.
He didn't have enough picks to fill all the holes he had. He didn't draft a wide receiver, and now, we're talking about, you mentioned, Voch, about wide receiver, get tougher and all that. Sure. They might not have enough picks to fill all the things that you're asking us to do, Colin. And so where do you have to start? Where if you had to sacrifice something, Nick, you say, okay, I don't have enough picks, but I could live without this.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I got to have this in order to – Voch is telling me I got to be tougher. Yeah. I don't think I can win the conference because I'm not built the right way. And Jeff Kavanaugh, who was a draft show disciple, is telling me I kept trading back and I still didn't have enough picks to grab what I needed.
Yeah. I think
is that a problem we're going to about to deal with?
Huge problem.
It really depends on what happens in free agency, but yes, it's certainly a problem.
Don't expect anything to happen.
Nothing happens in free.
Yeah, I'm just we'll see. Because Eric Kendricks filled a hole. That's why I say that. Because Eric Kendricks, that was one less linebacker you had to draft last year. So if you can bring in Eric
leaves
Kendricks
a hole this
back,
year too.
Yeah, I was going to say if you can bring in Eric Kendricks back, then I don't think you necessarily have to worry about the linebacker position. But I would, if I had to sacrifice anything though. I'd sacrifice the secondary. I don't love the safeties, and I think you have some liabilities at corner, but I would sacrifice the secondary to plug holes elsewhere.
This guy hates when I talk about safeties when I'm with him.
I agree with Nick because you can go, okay, give me the best free safety, but your one tech's bad. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You have to fix the fundamental baseline stuff first.
For sure.
So, yeah, fix your front seven first.
Yeah.
Why do you have a free safety that's just sitting back there roaming all day because we can't get pass rush?
You brought up Malachi Starks to start the show this year.
And
that was the first name. I marked it on my list as the first name mentioned.
It doesn't matter.
Going to be a Cowboy.
It doesn't matter if you have a great king. If your guards up front are butt, they're going to get in and shoot your king.
And we're playing chess now.
Yeah, and that's
like
exactly why I mentioned him, because when we're on the board at 12, he might be the best dude there. Yeah. Starks might be the best dude there. Yeah. You got to ask yourself, man. And I know we just spent premium picks. This is what Cowboy fans really mad at. Yeah. We just spent picks at left tackle and one tech back to back.
Yeah.
We might have to do it again. We might have to get tackle and D-line and have to rev it up just because we allegedly, air quote, is early, I know, but we just, air quote, missed on those guys. Mm-hmm. Well, Vash, we haven't, drafted safety in a while. Cowboys have had a safety that we loved. So my one tech, I got questions. My left tackle, I got questions, So, linebacker's another one. We hurt there. And we may not get the linebacker group that we really love until the year after that. So it's questions.
My man's talking defense the whole way. He ain't going to let you take an offensive player.
Yeah.
O-line got to my bones, though.
Yeah.
But I think defense.
You got to start defense.
Because we're going to.
No wide receiver in the first with a thin wide receiver class initially.
Me and Brian just talked about some wide receivers yesterday, boy. And that kid from Texas is exciting.
Golden, yeah.
It just depends on where you go get them. But I think, hey, if you want a guard, I think you find guards later. If you want a running back, you can definitely find running backs later. I think what you need to get is dudes, and the best dudes that you need to go for first are like those front seven guys. That's just my own opinion.
I want to put a pin in that Texas wide receiver conversation just a second. You said Bolden?
Golden.
Golden.
They do have a Bolden.
Bond, too, and there is a Bolden.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I combine Bond and Golden?
There's three different receivers. There's Golden, Bolden, and Bond.
Yeah.
Those are the three guys.
Golden.
I don't know Bolden.
Yeah, so there's
I was making
sure.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I was making sure I heard that correctly. I do want to talk about that later, though.
But I know this is a little hypocritical because I just said don't draft secondary. But if you're sitting there at 12 and Jahdae Barron is there, a guy who can play anywhere in the secondary.
Because I'm taking him.
He can play it outside. He can play it slot. He can play it rover. He can play it safety, free, strong, wherever you want to put him. You taking him?
Oh, yeah, I'm taking him. But let me ask you this, though. You taking him or are you going to take Banks?
And that's the question. That's the question.
I just asked you the question first. You asked me.
If man,
you got
I'm
say
taking
you
Banks.
Say you have likely McMillan gone, right?
Yes,
we kind of likely. I mean, we've had some CeeDee Lamb situations. Likely McMillan gone. If I don't know, I have him as receiver one, depending on what you think about Hunter, where you want to play Hunter. Okay,
McMillan receiver, Arizona.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah. But if you're looking at, say, Burden, Ibuka, and Golden.
Missouri, Ohio State, Texas.
Right. All these guys, you have to say these things. You can't just have a conversation.
I was doing it as
a
bit.
I know. It's been like beat into my head. Yeah. Say the school, Brian. Yeah. Say the school. Like I think the people that watch the show are smart enough to know the players.
Sometimes.
But okay, the McMillan's gone. 3 wide receivers, Banks, and now Barron. Think about that. Where are you going?
So the 3 receivers are gone, you said?
No. Burden's there, Ibuka's there, Golden's there. And then you have a chance for Banks, and then now you have to Barron. And those are all available at 12.
Yeah, I'm not risking going receiver that early, I think. I think I would still go either Banks or Barron, but I'd be open to either conversation. I think if it were me right now, today, January 16th, I'd take Banks.
Nick, let me ask you this. So do you have Banks at guard or tackle?
I think you can play either. I think that's the situation. You get him in the building and you figure it out.
So let me ask you this. Tackles go this high all the time. Guards got to be Quentin Nelson to go this high.
I think he could be.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
okay.
I think he could be.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
So it's worth
I feel that good about
Oh, you didn't expect that one, did you?
I don't personally.
You did not expect that one, did you?
I don't personally think he's Quentin Nelson at guard. I think he's a really good Kelvin Banks at guard. I think he's probably best at tackle. That's my own personal opinion. Everybody's going to disagree about that. But I think if he's a guard, he's got to be that kind of dude if you're going to take him that early.
Do you guys kind of hope then or pray that Graham then from the Michigan tackle gets to you at 12?
Yeah, man, we having a party. What you mean?
Yeah.
We want a golden corral.
Would Graham trump all. And here's that one technique thing.
Here it is, wearing that Michigan hat.
Tell you what,
Mine's just sit down somewhere.
seeing Kenneth Grant earlier this week.
See, that's
I'd
what I'm
be
saying.
fine with Kenneth
See,
Grant.
and I have Grant as my second one technique.
Yeah.
So now
Behind-
behind Graham.
Graham.
Yeah.
Michigan,
Both of them.
yeah.
I can already hear the chaos ensuing out there on the Tostitos Plaza if they draft a Michigan.
Somebody just threw a
I can
pin
hear it.
already.
I
We
can
talk
hear
about
it.
pin throws on draft weekend. Somebody just already threw one across the board.
So with Graham though, and this is the one thing that's annoying, really. All right, we pick at 12.
But you get tougher, man.
Yeah.
Graham
Way
is
tougher.
Graham's not going to make it to 44, is he?
No.
That's the problem.
No.
That's the problem. So there's a lot of guys that I like that is
Are
they're
you talking
too
about Grant?
rich.
Are you talking about Grant making
Kenny
the
Grant.
Grant, you said Graham.
I said Graham.
Yeah, but you say Grant's not making it to 44.
I don't think. Well, of course, neither one. But yeah,
I think he gets picked in the first.
Kenny Grant, Michigan, definitely.
yeah.
I like him a bunch. I think 12 is too rich, but he's not going to make it to 44. And we may have a question from one of our peoples about trading back and all that, but I think that's a perfect trade back type candidate situation. It just depends on how far you want to go back. If I can move back, get Kenny Grant, get another pick, draft a running back later, I think we can go party.
There are so many different elements. I mean, I just talked about holes to fill, and here we are
a lot of
bouncing around. All
But
of
that's
these
what I'm
different
saying.
holes.
And
You need picks.
You need picks, but in a thin, what we're all talking about, a thin draft. There are good players in this draft. Don't get me wrong. It just doesn't have the depth that we're used to. But you can find some guys, and that's what I'm saying. Though, do you trade back in this draft, knowing that it gets thinner when you go back? I mean, or do you just go ahead and take the guys that are on the board and then try and navigate the rest of the draft?
I would just try to maximize top 100 picks if possible. Like if I'm moving back on the first and I'm
Keep a top
not
100.
getting a top 100 pick out of it, then it's not worth it.
Especially at 12.
Yeah.
Because you think about how rich it was to move from 24 to 29 last year.
Yeah.
You picked up a third-round pick in order to do so. Now you're moving from 12 to whatever level. How comfortable would you be? How far back would you feel comfortable?
To me,
move
you want to
back?
know my trade back guy, and if things start, it looks really muddy and kind of crazy. Green for Marshall.
My Green Marshall.
Yeah. If I had to trade back into
So like late first?
in the 20s,
Okay.
you know, if you heck, I would depending on who's on that board. But I said if it was muddy, I would consider Green in that situation right there. That edge from Marshall.
I am not trading back from McMillan from Zona.
Yeah.
Genty, running back, Boise. Abdul Carter. None of these guys are going to be there, but I'm just saying. Carter, Penn State, Edge, Mason Graham. Travis Hunter's not going to be there, but he's just on my board. Everybody else can get traded back from. So if Burden is there, I love Burden.
Wow. So you've only got 5 names on that list that you would say we're sticking and picking.
Because I think those dudes are like bona fide. Yeah, we can't lead these guys.
Yeah.
But like if Burden is there, if Ibuka is there, if Banks is there, I'm looking at like 10 picks back. I may like somebody 10 picks back as much as I possibly like Burden or Ibuka or something like that. So yeah, I'll move 10.
Simmons, Ohio State tackle.
I think he's the best tackle, but I need
knee.
I need Dr. Cooper to tell me what his knee looks like. But I think he's the best tackle in this draft though.
You're going to have to figure that one out in Indy.
Yeah.
It's going to be a big one. Like
Can I go
we
on
talked
a
about
mini
last
rant?
week.
Please,
Go.
can I go on a mini rant?
Oh,
I
you're
agree
stepping
with
on
you.
a soapbox here?
Yeah, about to. I agree with you about Burden, but we need to stop overthinking Burden. There's some people who are like, Burden, I'm good. I'm good off Luther Burden. I'm completely not. This is a hell of a player.
He's a bad boy.
And he looks.
You're saying people are off him?
Yeah, people are.
Oh,
people
geez.
are,
I love
The question around
We need to stop overthinking Luther Burden as a draft community as a whole. We need to stop overthinking Luther Burden.
Quit acting like you can influence people with
I'm just saying.
a lot of people, at least in Cowboys circles, are saying it's CeeDee Lamb. I would love to have 2 CeeDee Lambs. That
He's
sounds
not.
like great.
He's not.
But in terms
Yeah.
of where you would play him, he's a slot guy
fair.
and can bump outside if you want him to. He can play that X if you want, but there's that back and forth versatility. Then you got 2 guys that can do that. I'm okay with it.
Can you mind me taking a minute here? Can you please, guys, tell me about what you think about the kid Williams, the wide receiver from TCU?
So he's a guy that's shown a lot of versatility. Out of the
Savion
backfield.
Williams, right? That's
Savion Williams. Out of
Savion
TCU.
Williams. Okay.
Shown a lot of versatility out of TCU. I got really good people over at TCU that feed me the goods. There are concerns about how he can pick up an offensive system.
Okay.
So I think that's certainly something to keep an eye on moving forward. Now, that's something that could get figured out in a formal interview with the Combine. That's what that's there for. You talk to the player, you put him on the board, see what he can do with X's and O's. But I think most of his versatility out of the backfield was a product of just getting the ball ball in his hands without him having to think about it.
But it worked, didn't it?
It worked great. It worked great. You're 100% right.
Yeah.
But I think you hit a certain point in the NFL where you have to be multidimensional, and if all you can do is just quick stuff or out of the backfield, then you're limiting your potential, because we know he's got crazy potential. And if he could put together how to process an NFL offense, which is still possible. I mean, look at Kevontae Turpin. He started to really find his own in an NFL offense. He had the same concerns early on. If Savion Williams could do the same, we'd be talking about him as a first rounder, in my opinion.
Yeah, Kevontae Turpin, who has 2 receptions a game. That's exactly what we're looking for when you draft a wide receiver, right?
I'm with also 140 pounds.
I agree. But
this guy's 6'5", so it's
exactly
different.
Go ahead.
I agree. But my smallest pushback, right? A.J. Brown only runs like 5 routes is what it looks like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That dude runs slants, he catch bubbles, he runs. And it looks like they just draw lines with him. Like, yeah, A.J., run this, we'll throw it to you and just go be great. If you put route tree on Williams, TCU, varsity. If you put route tree on him, yeah, he'll probably fall off a little bit or just do the Dez thing, put him on the coach's side. But just find a way to get that dude the ball. And I've been telling Brian, what the hell do we have coaches for, right? If you look at this guy and say, hey, let's give this dude the route tree, you're wrong, right? Let's give him this minimalized thing and let him be a yak guy. Because honestly, people may say the same thing about Burden, right? Like, you don't want to because when you watch film on Burden, like, they really just, all right, get in the backfield and run a swing, we'll give it to you in 40 yards. Hey, go run a slant, we'll get it to you 40 yards. I think Savion's going to have that same kind of playbook. Burden's a much better yak guy, in my personal opinion. But if you just keep it simple, I don't see why this guy can't be a game breaker in your offense. And look, that may drop him to a 3rd round guy. If he can't process, then I'll only take him in the 3rd round. But I think it's just worth looking at.
You know who this guy is? He's Nico Collins.
Nico
Collins.
Oh, wow.
Nico Collins from the Houston.
Did he have
about
same
to say
concerns
Rico
coming out?
Gathers.
Yeah, I was thinking. I mean, look at the way he played at Michigan. Look at the size. This kid and the way that Collins is like that inside player.
Yeah.
I mean, I was watching him play. I was thinking of Nico Collins from the Texans. Is what I was thinking of.
You guys,
a hell of a player.
Yeah,
hell
for
of a
sure.
player.
Bringing up Savion Williams from TCU, he's a Senior Bowl invite. He's also got another teammate going to the Senior Bowl as well, and Jack Beck. Do you guys?
I haven't seen him yet, and a lot of people are starting to wear me out about him.
So
he's been at least thought to be above Williams in that stat.
if you don't get your McMillan big X guy, then I think you could go get Beck later. And this
Is Beck better than this kid?
I think so.
I thought you meant McMillan. I was like, no.
Williams.
Then Williams. I say no, just because Williams gives you a little bit more, because he
Gives you some ceiling too.
Yeah, but I think Beck, and I've heard it pronounced Besh, so I need to go back.
I might be wrong.
He was one of the guys that I saw earlier this week. He is big. He is a tall kid, big kid, he'll go up and grab it. He played for LSU for a little bit. He was a second-team All-American PFF. This is a kid that can go up and grab it, but he's also got yak ability. And I think this is a guy, if he's sitting there in the 3rd round, you still need your X guy, you can certainly go grab him.
We'll watch him and come back and have a conversation about it.
It is Jack Besh.
Besh. Okay.
And apparently his uncle used to work here. So
Okay.
he's got some connections within the building. Good
Okay.
to know. So just to keep an eye on a couple of those
Served Greg
TCU guys.
McElroy well.
Yeah, it did, didn't it? Right. All right. When we come back, it's time for a little Twitter on the 20. We open up your fan questions off of Twitter momentarily. We're going to answer as many as we possibly can. We'll try and get to at least 3 this week. How about that? Yeah. All right. More of the Draft Show coming up right after this.
Here we go. Tyler from Dude Perfect here. Big news. We just dropped our very own Dude Perfect smoothie with Smoothie King.
We is strong. It's my recipe.
Technically, we all came up with it, Kobe.
I mean, you put a potato in yours.
I was experimenting.
Yeah, we picked up on that. Guys, this is fruit smoothie perfection. I even heard it recently quoted that it was food perfect.
Yeah, I was the one that said that.
Oh, that's funny. It's punny.
Thank you. Anyways, get the Dude Perfect smoothie only at Smoothie King.
My smoothie.
Hi, Drew Pearson, former Dallas Cowboy and now Pro Football Hall of Famer here. If you're struggling with your vision and tired of those contacts and glasses, don't throw a Hail Mary. Go where I went. Laser Care Eye Center, the official LASIK partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Drew, thank you so much for trusting us with your vision correction procedure. At Laser Care Eye Center, we offer 6 different vision correction procedures to help patients see.
Check them out at dfweyes.com. Tell them Drew sent you. Hood, hood.
I'm Dak Prescott, quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys.
And they snap it to Prescott, who looks right. It's not there. He escapes left. He'll run for a first down.
Just like football, when it comes to crypto, it's important to have a team you can trust. With blockchain.com, I know I'm in good hands. Since 2011, they've been trusted by millions around the world to buy, sell, and trade cryptocurrency.
Prescott's going to run this himself. Run it up the middle, and he scores.
Whether you're new to crypto or an active trader, they've got you covered. What are you waiting for? Get started at blockchain.com.
Cowboys fans, when it comes to navigating the ever-changing world of tax, your business needs a partner it can trust to tackle even your biggest tax challenges. Ryan is the largest firm in the world dedicated exclusively to business taxes. Our team of tax professionals has local expertise in all areas of tax and can help you uncover savings opportunities you didn't know you had. Learn more about how Ryan can improve your overall corporate tax performance by visiting Ryan.com. Ryan, the official tax partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
This is the DallasCowboys.com Draft Show.
Back here on the Draft Show, I do not have the read in front of me currently, so I'll hit it at the end of the segment, which means we can get right into some
Twitter on the 20.
Wow, Twitter on the 20. That was quick on the trigger there, Beam.
Beam was ready.
Well done, dude. It's like we've been waiting for this
Beam's
one for
always
a minute.
ready.
All right. You talked about trade back scenarios, right? We'll hit it right off the top, Vach. I'll start with you. This is from Lord Dilly on Twitter.
What up, Dilly?
Yeah. Genty at 12 or trade back to around the mid 15-ish level, grab the extra capital, or take Ibuka. And take Ibuka if you trade back. So let's say Ibuka falls, but you don't get Genty, but you get extra draft capital.
Man, I'm phony as hell, man, because I just said I wouldn't trade back from Genty. But boy, I love picks, man. I love picks, and I think if you got picks around, like any day 2 picks are gonna be huge for you. So I'm phony. My bad, y'all. I'm being phony. I'm trading away from Genty. Plus, I just keep watching running backs, and the more running backs I watch, I go, man, boy, Ashton,
be good, huh?
Ashton's a bad boy, but man, have y'all seen R.J. Harvey, man? Have y'all seen Samson? You know, like so. Yeah. I'm. Cool. All right. Yeah. Okay. Take Genty off of my wouldn't trade back list. I'm trading away from Genty. I'm getting my picks. I'm trying to fill my roster up for sure.
So you get the you got a pick there in the third. Was it 70? What
77?
77.
Something like that.
Say you pick up pick 80 with that.
76, by the way.
It's 76.
76 and 80. Okay.
All right. So it makes you feel better because you don't have a 4.
Right.
Because you don't, that at least you're kind of doing what you did last year. You didn't have a 4 either, but you felt better because you had the two third-round picks. But who would you target in that third round then, if that's the case? So, okay, you got your own
receiver.
You got your own. So give me, if you could, you don't have to give me player. Give me Give me two positions then that you. So you're going to get your receiver,
defensive tackle.
Okay, so these are third rounders. So you're talking about you got 2 third rounders.
Pick either one, whatever you want to do.
Okay.
Running back, and I'm gonna get me a guard. I'm gonna go find me a guard right up in that situation.
You're gonna get that Ratledge, aren't you, from Georgia or something like that?
Ratledge. It depends on if Willem is gone. Wyatt Millum, West Virginia. Ratledge. Guard, Georgia. If those guys are gone, and we had this conversation, Brian, like these guards are just kind of falling typically or whatever. Booker, if he's there in the second and I got another third, I may look at Booker and go, all right, cool, give me Booker. I know he's a dude. I'll get my running back and my whatever else, my tackle later. I could just do that. And me and you watch tackles, Brian. So that's kind of stretching. Look, one techs are kind of, coming down a little bit to the third there. So, yeah, give me my wide receiver first. And, would you like for me to put some names to it?
No, I'm just like, okay, if you the question was you get Ibuka.
Okay.
They're right. Yep. Second round, who you taking at 44 if you had a chance?
Johnny Cornelius. Let's just throw it out there. Tackle Oregon.
Haven't you watched him?
Okay.
Haven't you seen him?
And then third round, defensive tackle Alfred Collins from Texas.
Okay.
And
then with the extra, and then with the extra, with the extra, say the extra 3 that you get, is that your running back?
Could be.
Yeah, could be.
Travion Henderson.
I'll tell you what though. Yeah, I don't know. Would love that. I'll tell you what though. If they go into day 3 and they still haven't picked their running back, I'm okay with that. I really am. Because there's going to be backs there.
Yeah, I've got this thing all the way going down to the 4th right now. That's as far as I've studied on some of these guys.
In terms of running back?
Yeah, as far as the running back.
So you wait until the 5th to get a running back?
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
Boy, the way your eyes.
Yeah, I forgot about 4. I'm just saying,
we don't have a 4th.
I'm just saying there's going to be some backs there on day 3 that you will love.
If we had a 4th, I'm with you. But man, we did the same dance last year, boy. Like, yeah, man, we'll just wait around to the 5th, and now
Tyrone Tracy was there. Isaiah Davis was there.
Yeah.
There were some guys there in the 5th.
But boy, give me a dude though, man.
And this is a much better class here in the 5th. I think in the 5th, I'm just kind of throwing names out about guys who could be there in the 5th. I mean, you're looking at a Scatabo.
In the 5th?
And I think, yeah, I think comfortably.
What you got on Neal, Kansas? Devin Neal.
I don't have a grade on him yet.
Okay.
I don't have a grade. I
think
bet
he's a
he would be
4.
gone. I bet he would be gone by that point. Brashard Smith, SMU, kind of feels. What do you feel about him taking the majority of carries out of the backfield? I like Lamb Larison out of UC Davis. I think that's an FCS guy to take a look at.
Do you watch film from the bottom and then go up? I haven't even watched none of these people.
Yeah, he's unbelievable.
I'm a sicko. But I'll say this.
It's January.
He started May 1st last year.
I'll give it with the caveat that I watched every time I saw a running back that was draft eligible on the TV this year, I sat down and watched it. So it's like running backs is a little bit different. Like catch me on the edge and I'm going to be like, yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
So I'm taking exactly what you just said and I'm making it concrete because you've watched these running backs for months at a time and you say, yeah, they're going to be there in the 3rd and the 4th round.
Okay, so what we determined here is that Ibuka, and then say with the extra 3rd, we're taking Collins, the defensive tackle from Texas. Is that better than you like Ibuka and Collins over taking Genty?
So yeah, that would be your ultimate trade.
Yeah,
and it's
because we need the guys.
Those that have the trade charts out, by the way, that is a slight overpay to give 80 to go from 15 to 12.
And somebody would overpay for Genty.
Absolutely,
somebody would overpay for Genty.
The only reason I'm saying this is because me and Brian did this mock draft, and Genty was the first guy, right? Cool. We take Genty at 12, and then we get to 44, and we like cuss word. Man, where are our guys here? You know what I'm saying? Where are the guys that we've been liking so much? So since then, me and Brian just kind of been like, yeah, maybe I'll pass on Genty and get one of these running backs later, but then I'll go and watch the film on Genty again. Like, yeah, I'm not passing up on that.
Indianapolis currently holds the 80th pick in the draft, and they also hold 14. So you would only go down 2 spots, and that would actually be a legitimate trade offer.
I think
they've got a guy named Jonathan Brooks.
We should throw this out in this conversation and saying that Jonathan Taylor. We should throw this out in the conversation that
many names.
Genty is not going to be there at 12. I'm pretty convinced Genty's not going to be there at 12.
I would be happy if he wouldn't be, because then I wouldn't be forced to make that decision.
Same, 100%.
Where does he go then?
I think you could look at Chicago. I think Chicago could pull a pick on that.
Okay.
You look at run me through the top.
Top 10 picks: Tennessee, Cleveland, New York Giants, New England Patriots, Jacksonville, Las Vegas, New York Jets, Carolina, New Orleans, Chicago, and then right before the Cowboys, the San Francisco.
It would make so much
49ers.
sense for Vegas to pull that. It would make so much. There's a couple of teams in there that would make a lot of sense. I just don't think.
Vegas at 6.
I don't think he makes it past 10.
That's a high pick.
See, you just got to know that you have to determine that whatever that, because last year you make the trade to go back and you pick up BB. I think we all feel good about that.
Yeah.
Sure.
Great.
So now, if you're going to trade away from Genty, if that's who you're looking at, then who is that? You have to be ready to what's that extra pick going to get you?
Yeah.
Where are you comfortable if it's a 3rd round? Are you comfortable? Me personally, I like the kid Norman Lott. It's a hyphenated name from Tennessee, the 3 technique. I think Charles Grant, the William and Mary tackle, makes sense for me right now. We've talked about the running backs. Sampson, Tennessee. I think that's I got it probably too low on that. The UCLA linebacker, I've kind of got in that range too.
Maxwell Harrison, corner, Kentucky.
Yeah. So
right around the range.
Yeah, right around there. So to me, if you tell me if you're comfortable with that, who we're going to get with that extra 3rd, then it makes sense for me to do this. Yeah. You got to give me names I like. I just don't want to go flying down there blind. That's what I would ask.
How about this question? This is from TD Labs on Twitter.
What up, TD?
I keep wanting to say Twitter. It's X now, whatever it is.
It's Twitter.
However, I'm going the opposite direction now.
Okay.
I'm going to give you a name, but it's not because we're trading back. How about Genty at 12 or Sean McVay for the first 5 years, or for the next 5 years? You're trading that pick to L.A. to go and get a head coach.
Yeah, Sean McVay, easily.
Really? That easy? I thought asking this question on the draft show, I would get pushback on it.
I think I'd go McVay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I don't know, man. That's my one.
Year one.
I would have
Sean Payton went for what, a 1 and a 2?
A 1 and a 2.
I would have to know how down he is. I don't want him to just get here and be like, I don't like this, I'm leaving, and now I'm out of a first-round pick, and he don't want to be here.
That would be the only way they do it in the first place is if he has 1 foot out of the door in L.A. because they're currently in the divisional round. They have some possibilities moving forward, and they work for a team that literally, when they won the Super Bowl, said F them picks.
This
So
dude,
they're picking up a pick.
starts
for
the
their
year
draft.
1 and 4 and ends up in the divisional round every year.
If I get a 10-year contract with some handcuffs and
You
a
get 5
briefcase,
years. That's it.
yeah, I take Sean McVay. Yeah, it depends on who's on the board, man. Like if it's one of these guys that's kind of all right, cool, I'll trade back from. Yeah, I'll take Sean McVay. Yeah, and we just wouldn't have to worry about coaching for 5 years, sure.
Yeah.
This one's from Daniel Connolly. With the first round grades being so few this season, if you're completely wiped out at 12, one of those scenarios that we talked about earlier, completely wiped out at 12, are you trading back, picking up those selections, or are you sticking to BPA, best player available?
How wiped out are we, though?
Yeah, that's my question.
How wiped out? Is it Ibuka? Is it Campbell? Is it?
Let's just say all of your first round grades are gone.
Yes. You're only
I know you
in
don't
your
have them all
second round
placed
grades.
yet, but I'd be parachuting. I'm under the Jeff Kavanaugh line of thinking where I am always team trade back.
If
It worked for you last year.
if every one of my first round grades are gone, then
Them quarterbacks terrible this year. Then if all these,
you know what? I'm looking at these. I'm looking at one of those wide receivers. I'm looking at Golden or somebody like that. I don't have Golden in the first, but I'm looking at somebody like that. I'm looking at Green from I mentioned him from Marshall.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm looking at Grant from Michigan, defensive tackle. If you want to try and wipe me out, you know, I'm not as high on Will Johnson as everybody else in the league.
Correct. I mean,
You know, but if he ends up being, you know, that's going to kick. I'd take Morrison up there. I'd take Barron. You know, but like I say, I mean, you can wipe me out, but I would be comfortable taking Golden or Grant or one of those guys if I had to.
Give me the picks and I'll just take Barron anyway. So that's where I'm at with it.
Trade back and see if he falls.
I think everybody's gonna want to trade back. Like that's just like, hey,
if you get wiped out, aren't other teams thinking they're wiped out too?
Yeah. And that's why I think trade.
Why? I mean, you got to
somebody's got to have something to go up for.
Somebody's got to come up for something, and you know what? If they're coming up for something, I hope you're considering the same damn thing. You know, picking the guy.
Yeah.
Unless it's like a Cam Ward or a Shador falling to 12.
I was really hoping Riley Leonard went on this run at the end to make people, like, come on, Riley. But nah, I don't think Riley's going to go up there.
I wonder what happens with Quinn Ewers during the process. Because we were talking about J.J. McCarthy this time last year, third-round pick, you know, whatever. And then teams were willing to sell their soul to go get J.J. McCarthy there in the top 10. So I wonder how Quinn Ewers factors in this process. Because I think teams are going to fall in love with the potential of Quinn Ewers. They're going to fall in love with the idea of Quinn Ewers. And I wonder how much that boosts his value here.
I think he's got some Tony Romo to his game.
It's tough for me to say just because that's Garrett Nussmeier. You know, Garrett Nussmeier is.
Garrett Nussmeier's a little bit.
He is. So it's tough for me to say necessarily. Like I said the other day, I think he's got a little.
I think you're right about Nussmeier because I think he's got a little more of the mobility and stuff where Romo was able to duck and dodge and stuff like that. Yeah.
This one's from Landon on Twitter.
Lando,
what point in the draft do the impact D tackles dry up across the board? Of course, Dallas has used those premium picks, Mozzie, Tristan Hill, first few drafts over the last couple of drafts. Do you think there's a spot where it really dries up?
I think once you're looking at like the 4th round, so like you need to go get your guy day 2.
In your 3 picks.
Yeah.
What was the word he used? Like premium is what he said?
Impact.
Impact. What's really impact? Like what?
Starting day 1.
Starting day 1?
Potentially.
Round 3 for me then. You know,
yeah.
Right around. Grant, Williams, Walker, Harmon. That's kind of where my super impact guys.
Nolan?
Mm-hmm. No.
I'm not as big on Nolan as some of these other guys. And I like Nolan, but when I watch these other guys, I'm like, boy, they big as hell and athletic.
Yeah.
And Nolan's big as hell and kind of clumsy. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of dropped him down a little bit for that.
Yeah. He needs seasoning. He does.
Norman Lott, we just talked about him, Tennessee. I love his athleticism, but he's not very strong. And I want my tackles to be kind of strong, but like as
it's
a pass rushy kind of do, third down stuff, I think that's perfect for him, but I don't think you could use that all the time. Alfred Collins, Texas, he's a bit of a project to me. He has all the tools in the world, but you got to trust coaching there. And I'm not trusting my coaches, right now.
I'll tell you what, if you lose Osa to free agency, which I'm expecting, I think a guy that could be there on day 3, if you want a 3-tech pass rush guy, Anais Peebles out of Virginia Tech, that's a guy who can get after the quarterback. 6'2", 290 pounds, and was 5th in the nation in defensive tackle.
What did you think about Sanders from South Carolina?
I haven't watched Sanders because every time I watch Sanders, I end up watching Tonka Hemingway because he's right next to him, and I just love the name.
So you've watched Tonka Hemingway, but you haven't watched TJ.
I know.
You're going backwards, Nick.
I know, it's tough.
He is going backwards.
I'm all over the place. I'm really just all over the place.
Let me start with the priority free agents and work my way back.
Where is Tonka Hemingway's name connected to Thor Griffith, also a defensive tackle out of Louisville?
Yeah, give me Tonka.
Thor?
Give me the
as
Tonka
a
truck.
big, strong defensive tackle?
Tonka truck in the middle? Are you kidding me?
Man,
That's
they're both.
so
to be honest with you, though, do you think maybe that the guys that you mentioned, like Grant, Williams, Harmon, Walker, could they all be gone by the time Dallas picks at 44?
I think so.
Grant, Tyleek Williams?
Yeah.
From Ohio State.
Williams, man. Derek Harmon, I think, could be there. You got some teams that love him and some teams that are like, I'm completely good off that.
What about I know we talked a lot about Texas A&M edge rushers yesterday. Shamar Turner, inside guy from A&M.
I'm good.
Not a second-round guy, more lower along the way.
Tell us why, Nick, because every time I come on here and talk about the Texas A&M kids, people start calling me hating. Tell us about Stewart. Just give me a little report on
Stewart or Turner.
Tell us about all of them.
Both guys. Give me both guys.
Like none of the
You want both guys?
Both guys.
Shamar Turner, DeSoto grad, so I've been watching him since he was 15 years old. I think he's got effort problems, I would tell that to Shamar Turner's face.
Loafs, man.
So Shamar Stewart, on the other hand, I do like Shamar Stewart. I think he's a high motor. I think he's a freak. I just think he needs to put on some weight, and I think he could be legit at the next level.
Okay.
He's also versatile. He's talking about piano players last year. He's kind of a guy that I think could move up and down.
They all run down the middle of people, and as a D lineman, that stuff bothers me, man. Stop running down the middle of people. But hey, what the hell is coaching for?
My first thought when you said piano players, I forgot about that term last year. I pictured Shamar Turner playing piano.
Like Marion Barber?
Yeah. Christopher asks, how many draft picks would need to hit in this draft class?
All of them.
To be pushing for a playoff spot in
15.
December.
The last one of them.
15.
How many?
All them fives going to have to do something. And undrafted kids, they're going to have to hit.
It depends on the position. It really does. Like, to be serious, I think if you hit 50. on like 6 and they're at value positions, then I think you're talking. But look, this team has to do something in free agency. There's no way they don't. And if you're a head coach and you're interviewing here and you're walking in that office, one of your questions, you know how you're going to interview, okay, what do you have questions about this place? What are we going to do in free agency if I'm here? We got to do something because it's the philosophy over the last few years has not been great. Now, I loved the offseason when they went and traded for Brandon Cooks and Stephon Gilmore. I think that could be on the table. But are you gonna sacrifice picks for that? Because you're certainly not going to be able to sacrifice personnel because you don't have any personnel left.
Yeah, you don't have them.
So,
I agree. I think we're about to see the second big purge. Last year's purge with the talent, the backup guys.
Yeah.
Get ready, Osa, Golston. Maybe Lewis. You're about to see a bunch of guys walk out of this building, and I don't think you have enough resources to plug up the holes. Yeah.
Like we talked about, 1 through 10 feel pretty good. 11 through 53 is going to be tough along the way. All right. When we come back here on the draft show, I want to look ahead to those coaching candidates that have been kind of rumored around throughout. Any trends along the way that they could possibly be bringing to Dallas along the same lines of what are we doing in free agency? What are those coaches going to do in the draft? More of the draft show coming up right after this.
I'm Darren Woodson, former Dallas Cowboy player and Super Bowl champion. When I played in the NFL at a high level, I relied on my vision to see the field. As I started getting older, I noticed my vision wasn't as good, and I was getting frustrated from wearing my glasses all day. I went to Laser Care Eye Center, and Dr. G talked about all the options. Thanks to technology and Laser Care Eye Center, I can see near, far, and between. Don't fumble your vision any longer. Visit them at dfweyes.com and tell them Darren sent you. They got me back on my game.
Star Sports Tours is the only official fan travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys, offering exclusive game weekend travel packages with pre-game sideline access and photo ops with current players, cheerleaders, and Cowboy legends. You want to stay at a team hotel, attend the best tailgate party in Texas, tour the Star, and talk X's and O's with me, Everson Walls? With Star Sports Tours, you can. Visit cowboystravel.com to book your travel package today.
Here we go. Tyler from Dude Perfect here. Big news. We just dropped our very own Dude Perfect smoothie with Smoothie King.
We is strong. It's my recipe.
Technically, we all came up with it, Kobe?
I mean, you put a potato in yours.
I was experimenting.
Yeah, we picked up on that. Guys, this is fruit smoothie perfection. I even heard it recently quoted that it was food perfect.
Yeah, I was the one that said that.
Oh, that's funny. It's punny.
Thank you. Anyways, get the Dude Perfect smoothie only at Smoothie King.
My smoothie.
How about them Cowboys? Or how about them Tyson Cowboys Nuggets? As we cheer for the stars on the field, we love that we've also got some stars on our plate, thanks to Tyson brand star-shaped Cowboys Nuggets. That, along with all our other favorite Tyson Foods products, sure make game day special. Score some delicious Tyson Cowboys Nuggets and become a game day star, just like our Cowboys. As you enjoy your stars on and off the plate, remember, tailgates and game day have always been Tyson.
This is the DallasCowboys.com Draft Show.
Kick off the year in style with the best gear in the game. Visit a pro shop near you to log on to shop.dallascowboys.com. A Fanatics experience and set the tone for a great 2025. Also, Cowboys Nation, Amanda Foster has been named your 2024 Dallas Cowboys Fan of the Year, presented by Captain Morgan for her dedication to the team and spicing up the game. Vote for Amanda to be named the ultimate NFL Fan of the Year at NFL.com/Fan of the Year. We've got Vach Lombardi, Brian Broaddus, Nick Harris on the Draft Show with Chris Beam in the back. I'm Kyle Yeomans. Final couple minutes here, gentlemen, as we kind of sift through the draft class as a whole and the scenarios that could be at hand. There's also some scenarios on the coaching side of things that have to be hit. Out of the candidates that have been named so far, this is not a prediction segment, but just based on their history in the NFL, are any of these guys, Brian, bringing trends to the table, whether it's Pete Carroll or it's Kellen Moore or the impact that's been played here in Dallas that can be expected from a new head coaching hire?
Well, you've got, like you say, you got Pete Carroll does have a history with John Snyder and what they did in Seattle, right or wrong. John, my old intern, loves to draft running backs. That was like his favorite thing to do. If John had 12 picks and he could make them all running backs,
he's just like me.
He'd absolutely do that. But I think that, there's, with Robert Saleh, maybe the Jets, a little talent poor in some areas. I mean, you got to know how much influence that a coach has in a draft room. And I know working here, and I know we were talking about it during the break, that if you're head coach of Dallas Cowboys, whether you want to have a say or not, you're going to have the opportunity to have a say. There's guys that were very adamant about their ability to talk about these players. Bill Parcells. I mean, working with him, I know Dave Campo, not so much. Wade Phillips, not so much. But, you get guys like Jason Garrett. Jason Garrett was, you look at him and how the fact that his dad was a scout and all that, he wanted to be an influence. He wanted to have a say. There's certain coaches that can come in and Dan Quinn was that way. Dan Quinn worked shoulder to shoulder with Will McClay and those scouts. He was out on the road, working out players, good or bad. They missed on all those Kentucky players, but, they hit on some guys along the way. They got, Deron Bland and people like that. So, the coaches coming in, they have, some of them want to be involved with personnel and roll up their sleeves and get it done. And then there's others like Mike McCarthy. When he came here, he never had. Ted Thompson picked all the players in Green Bay. Mike really had no voice. Mike came here, I think he told the media one day, he goes, I've had more say here than I ever had at Green Bay. So, that it just depends on the coach and whether he wants to take advantage of that. Does he want to be a guy that's in the middle of it? And does he want to, because Will is he's going to solicit the Joneses' opinions, the scouts' opinions, and the head coach's opinion. And that's going to formulate how they set their board. So, if a coach, they're going to ask him. And whether he wants to take it or not is up to him.
I hope Will McClay is part of this interview process with these head coaches, because if it were me, I'd want a head coach that's very hands-on with the scouting. And
you don't want it to be a solo mission?
Not necessarily even a solo mission. I just want the head coach to know what's going on. And not to say that McCarthy didn't know what was going on, but I think he could have been a lot more in tune with draft conversations,
Sure.
especially as it got to draft day.
Some coaches don't want to be a part of that.
Sure.
They, like they'll tell you, hey, just I'll coach whoever you want. Bring them all. I'll coach them. And I think Will does a good job of kind of pulling everybody together. They do work on a consensus around here. And that's the way they put up their board. But I'll tell you this though, Nick, it will drive me nuts though sometimes. I remember one time I told a coach, he was going on and on and on about this player. And, we'd done a lot of work on the player. And I looked at him and I said, I don't call third down defenses. And he goes, what do you mean by that? And I go, I don't call third down defenses. Don't tell me how we need to scout players here.
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to be a jerk, but there's certain things that coaches need to do. They work on the draft a certain time.
Yeah.
My guys work on the draft all 12 months out of the year. Don't come in here and tell me this is, if you want to sit down and talk about it, but if you want to come in here and influence picks the wrong way, then I'm going to tell you how to call a third down defense then. I think there's a line that you have to be able to maintain.
I don't really know about coaching trends and drafts and all that. That's not really my bag. But one thing that I can hope for is that we can have a coach that can just coach and take a player and kind of boost what we have right now. Because we can sit up here and talk about draft. A lot of these needs are needs because we got young guys that we just aren't positive about.
Haven't developed.
For sure. So, like Al Harris, right? Like, cool, we have Al Harris, so maybe we could draft a corner later and he can fix this corner. Or, like, if we had some really good coaching on the O-line and stuff, okay, maybe we shouldn't draft left tackle. Let's just see what Guyton is because we really trust, Philly will take a rugby player and be like, all right, I'm just going to tweak this a little bit and you'll be good to go. And I imagine that you can draft linemen with confidence if you're positive that you got coaches that can tweak small things. We got a lot of young guys on this team.
Yeah.
So just tweak some of my little bitty things, right? And Deion Sanders, we just floating around. If Deion knows dudes, like if he brings Warren Sapp and Warren Sapp got magic picks he does that can fix tackles.
Yeah.
Let's bring in Deion, and that'll be his draft contribution to me.
Yeah, see, I think you're absolutely right about that because, like I say, I want to give Mike Zimmer and their staff on defense credit. They got
1,000%.
Golston and Mozzie and Osa and those guys to play.
Yep.
We've all been waiting for that. And they pulled that off. So coaching did matter on
Carl
that
Lawson is another one, too.
They got those guys all playing.
They got the most out of them as the year went along.
Sure.
But there's still so many question marks around guys that haven't seen that yet.
Yeah.
And even Mozzie, too. I think even Mozzie right now, when you're looking at his progression, it's still not skyrocketing the way that you would anticipate from a first-round pick, from somebody that you've invested a lot into.
I'll point this out about Robert Saleh and his drafting resume. I don't know obviously how much influence he had, whether it be in San Francisco or New York, but let's take a look at the picks and how those have developed over time with obviously him as coach. 2017, Solomon Thomas, Reuben Foster. Then in 2018 is when it picks up Fred Warner, DJ Reed, Nick Bosa, Dre Greenlaw, Javon Kinlaw, and then you go to the Jets, you have Sauce Gardner, Will McDonald, and these are guys that I think whether he had influence in drafting them or not, he knows how to develop guys, and I think that would certainly, he's my pick for DC. He's who I would bring in for DC, absolutely.
What about head coach?
No. This team needs a proven head coach who knows how to win in the postseason. And funny enough, I think your best candidate, other than Pete Carroll, might be Mike McCarthy in that sense. But I think, or best available coach, I should say, not candidate. But
sure.
You need a guy who's proven.
Pete
in the
Carroll's your guy, right?
Pete Carroll's my guy, and then Robert Saleh would be my DC.
That would be my two picks, by the way, just for the record. I'm in it with you.
OC Josh McCown, can I talk you?
Yeah, sure.
Too?
Yeah,
All
absolutely.
Right,
I'm down for that.
We're in.
He's done a great job in Minnesota, so I like it. All right, that's going to do it for us here on the Draft Show today. Thank you all for your questions on Twitter on the 20. We'll be back on Tuesday as we continue forward to the NFL Draft. Closing in on the Shrine Bowl and the Senior Bowl practices. Going into, was it next weekend? Not this upcoming weekend, but the weekend after that. That's when Shrine Bowl practices
got one more week,
start,
right?
Yeah, almost there, baby.
Here we go. Buckle up, everybody. All right, for Nick Harris, Brian Broaddus, Futch Lombardi, Chris Beam in the back, I'm Kyle Yeoman saying so long from the Draft Show. We'll see you next Tuesday.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!